All right, today we're diving into a company called WYNIX, and they have this really bold plan to basically take on the titans of tech and completely rebuild the device that's probably in your pocket right now. So let's break down how they're planning to do it.
Let me ask you something. Does your phone actually work for you, or do you sometimes feel like you work for it? It's a simple question, but it gets right to the heart of a frustration so many of us feel. We shell out all this money for these incredible devices, only to feel kind of trapped by their rules, their costs, and their constant need for our data.
The reality is, for most of us, we're living in the shadow of giants. The whole smartphone market is dominated by just a few massive players. And what they've done is build these walled gardens around their technology, basically dictating how we use the devices we supposedly own.
So what are these walls made of? Well, it really boils down to three big problems. First, you've got the crazy high costs and this idea of planned obsolescence, where your phone is literally designed to feel slow and old in just a couple of years, pushing you to upgrade. Second, there's a fundamental lack of privacy and control of our own data. And finally, you're stuck in these closed ecosystems that just limit your choice in what you can do.
And the scale of this whole thing, it is just staggering. We're talking about an industry worth over $500 billion just this year. This isn't just a market, it's a global force. So you can imagine, trying to challenge that is, well, it's a monumental task.
But here's where we start to see a crack in that giant's armor. A whopping 78% of people are genuinely concerned about their privacy. And that's not some small niche group, right? That's almost everybody. It's a mainstream frustration and honestly a massive opportunity for anyone who can offer a real alternative.
And if you zoom in even closer, you find this core group of about 175 million people. These are the power users, the businesses. They're the ones actively looking for something better. They demand top-notch performance, rock-solid security, and way more control, and they're willing to go find it.
So, into this world of Goliaths, a challenger appears. Enter WYNIX. And they're positioning themselves not just as another phone company, but as a hardware builder for what they're calling Web4. This idea for the next evolution of the internet, one that's all about decentralization and putting the user back in control.
And their mission statement really says it all. We empower builders for hardware. Right there, that tells you their goal isn't just to sell you another shiny box. Nope, it's to create an entire platform, something for creators and developers to actually build on.
So, what's their weapon in this fight, right? If the big tech companies are Goliath, then WYNIX's slingshot is this simple but powerful three-part idea: own, control, and build.
Let's break that down. First, they want you to truly own your hardware. How? By making it affordable and building it to last, not to be replaced in 2 years. Second, they want you to own your data. This is huge. They're planning to give you the power to host it yourself, meaning your personal info stays on your device, not on some company's server. And third, they want you to build your future on their platform, using open, modular devices that actually encourage innovation.
Okay, a great philosophy is one thing, but you need a great product to make it happen. And WYNIX is loading up that slingshot with two very distinct stones, two phones aimed at completely different parts of the market.
So here's their two-pronged attack. On one side, you've got the W4 phone Gen 1. They're calling it the people's smart device. The whole point is to be cheap, modern, and super accessible, right around the $200 mark. But on the other side, the W4 phone Gen 2. This is the enterprise powerhouse. We're talking a premium device that can actually act as a mini server, priced way up at around $2,000 for people who need that absolute maximum power and control. And you can see here the WYNIX 4 phone family. It looks clean, it looks modern, it could definitely sit on a shelf next to the big guys, but the real difference, the game changer, is the philosophy under the hood. And get this, they're not just stopping with phones. The plan is to expand into W4 notebooks too, which tells you they're thinking bigger. They're trying to build an entire ecosystem of devices all based on these core ideas of ownership and control.
All right, so the products and the vision, they're crystal clear. But how does a brand new company actually step onto this incredibly competitive battlefield? Let's take a look at their strategy.
Okay, so they've mapped this out really logically. They start with the big picture, the total addressable market, or TAM. That's the entire $1.6 trillion global phone and PC space. Insane. From there, they narrow it down to their serviceable addressable market, or SAM, which is a $150 billion slice focused on privacy and affordability. But, and this is the clever part, their initial target, their beachhead, the The SOM is a super-focused group of about 1.2 million early adopters and developers. It's a really smart, targeted way to start.
And what this strategy does is it lets them avoid a direct, head-on crash with Apple or Samsung right out of the gate. Instead, they're carving out a completely new niche for themselves.
So here's what makes them different, right? The idea is to offer more freedom than the low-cost brands like Xiaomi and Oppo while giving you more real data sovereignty, more actual control over your info than the premium brands like Apple and Samsung. And maybe most importantly, they're the only ones really trying to serve both the affordable and the premium ends of the market with this user control philosophy at the core.
So, all of this, it leads to the big question, doesn't it? WYNIX is making this huge bet that after years of being locked inside these walled gardens, we're all finally ready for a device that gives us genuine freedom. But can they actually pull it off?
You know, in their own pitch deck, they have this cheeky little line where they suggest what we've seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg. They say they have far more than 3 advantages. It's a really confident way of saying, hey, there's a much deeper strategy at play here. And that leaves us with this final thought. Is a company built on affordability, data sovereignty, and an open modular platform, is that the real future of our personal devices? Or is WYNIX just another bold challenger that's destined to be overshadowed by the giants? I guess only time will tell.